Hi guys, how are you? My name is Priscilla. I make content about travel, lifestyle and career. Travel, career and lifestyle. I messed that up, but we move. Anyways, so yeah, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, please do subscribe. If you need to subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Yeah, so today we wanted to talk about envy. I made some Instagram stories, but I also realized that some of you don't follow me on Instagram, so please do go and follow me. If you don't, I try to talk a lot about stuff that I enjoy on Instagram there in real time, much more than YouTube, although for some reason I enjoy YouTube more than Instagram. But anyway, YouTube is much more work than Instagram is, so I guess that's why. Anyway, so I want to talk about envy, and it is something that I got a lot of feedback from my people who follow me on Instagram, and I thought I'd bring that conversation to YouTube. I felt like the inspiration was I'd been talking to someone, and then we were talking about something that happened to someone, and she said she's envious of the person, she feels really bad, and I felt like, not really, it's okay for you to actually be envious. I feel like we have sort of demonized envy for so long, and yet I think that envy can actually be a good, if unpacked well and if processed well, can be a good like a good indicator of what you really want to do, you know. Because I feel like personally the times I have been envious of people, it has been in those areas that I know I really want to do and I'm not doing. So for me, it has always been a signpost in that I'm not living my life the way I really want, or I'm not stepping out into certain areas where I should step out, or I'm holding myself back from doing the thing that I really want to do. You know, so it's always been a great indicator that, you know what, Priscilla, you really want A, so because for you envious so person who got A, so you better now, you know, try to work towards that. So I feel like, so I'm just here to just give you a few tips that I use that have worked for me whenever I feel feelings of envy, because honestly they're gonna come. I feel like it's in this world we are bombarded with people's achievements real time, people's updates real time. I'm those people. I live my life out loudly on social media. I'm not shy about it. So it's the norming. It's a way of life now, you know. So it's very easy for you to feel feelings of envy and for you to go down that road, you know. And I don't want you to think you're a bad person for feeling that. I think it's very okay, and I think that if you use those feelings of envy to point you towards the things that you really want to do, it can be much better. So for me, the tip number one, whenever I feel envy, one, I process it. I do not run away from it. I do not say, oh my god, I'm a nasty human being, and you know, of course I'll probably have those moments, but then I catch myself so quickly and I'm like, no, actually it is good that you're feeling this, because this is showing you what you exactly truly want. Because sometimes you think you don't want things, and then it happens to someone and you're like, oh, I actually really want it too, you know. So for me, I process them. I allow myself to feel those feelings. I maybe journal them, I write them down. Most times I pray about it. And then after that, I ask myself the hard question. Why am I being envious of her accomplishment, or his accomplishment? What about that accomplishment do I really want, you know? And certain times when I've unprocessed, sometimes it's been an issue of, okay, maybe it's a timing, maybe theirs has come quicker than I thought mine, you know, would have come, or whatever, you know. But in the long run, usually it points me to like, okay, this is something I want to do. Then I move to the next. Okay, so if it's something I want to do, what is holding me back? Why aren't I doing it? You know, like for example, I remember there was, and I don't even know this chick, by the way. I've never met her. I will never ever meet her. She's called Hanifa. She's a fashion designer. She's, I think, Congolese. She lives, I think, in the US now. She launched her one of her clothes line, and it was just so successful, and it was nice, you know. And I remember in the night being on her page and being extremely envious of her. And then I was like, wait a minute, I don't know this chick, I'll never ever meet her, but why am I envious of her? And then when I unpacked it, I realized at the heart of it all, it's because I love clothes, I love fashion, and I love to design, and I love to think of things like clothes out of the box and stuff like that, you know. And I have, if you don't know, I have tried my hand at business. I used to sell clothes, but I've sold clothes both second hand. I have sold new clothes also, like I imported from the UK and I would sell. So I have tried my hand at that, you know. When I started my channel, I thought I would be a fashion blogger. I tried my hand at like doing style tips and what. For some reason it just didn't quite work, you know. So I realized that for me it's not about that styling tips. I enjoy the process of designing my own clothes, you know. So I'm like, okay, so if you do that, what is stopping you? And of course there's many things that I went through, and you know, this year I decided that, you know what, we are going to take a chance on this. So so for me, that's the process I go through, you know, with unpacking why I'm envious of the other person. But then also the other thing is I stop myself and deliberately start thanking God for the things that he is doing in that person's life, you know, because I feel like an attitude of gratitude unlocks a certain level of calm, of peace, and of contentment and expectation in my own life, you know. So I immediately, like, I stop, I'm like, you know what, God, thank you. I start thanking God for that person. I'm like, God, thank you for their business, thank you for their, you know, marriage, thank you for their whatever, you know. I thank God on their behalf, because I'm like, if God can do it for them, then he can also do it for me, because I mean, you know. So I start thanking God for them. I start, you know, saying, God, you who did it for them will do it for me, and it's just a matter of time, because I feel like that always helps me. Then the other thing is, me, I'm not ashamed to accept I don't know stuff. Guys, I do not know stuff. Like, I have tried my hand at business and I do not know. Like, I'm very like I was envious of Nancy Mwai, like when she was reopening her, like expanding. I was like, oh my God, this girl has been able to transcend, like to move from just being a content creator to having her own business, and it's doing all like like what, like, you know. And then I was like, honey, I do not know stuff. I remember realized that, you know what, enroll for business, a proper business entrepreneurship class, guys. And I've paid, I'm already paid this year. I'm going to take the autonomy class because I'm done. I don't know stuff. I've tried my hand at business multiple times. Last year I tried to launch 2 of them that didn't, you know, materialize. Okay, right now one of them is still in that process, you know. So I was like, you know what, to prevent myself from future failure, let me save myself and do what people who I'm envious of have done. Because I remember watching Nancy Mwai, and she said that when she started her online business, her online fashion shop, it failed miserably, and because she didn't know the processes and stuff like that, the pricing and blah 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 blah. And then she said that when she took the autonomy entrepreneurship class, she was able to scale, you know, and now she's opened a much bigger store. She does her own production. I was like, amazing, amazing, amazing. So I was like, okay, people who I'm envious of have done this, and I'll also go ahead and do it, you know. So for me, that's one of the things that I'm like, I'm not scared to say, look, I don't know, and I'm going to ask to learn. I'm going to try to learn. So that's another way that I really deal with envy. Like, I study those people that I'm envious of, like, what are they doing different from me? What are they doing different from me, you know? And I learn. I try to learn I try to learn from them. I know that I've been envious of content creators on here who have just grown the numbers, and I'm like, oh my God, like, what? God, I'm doing amazing things. I think my content is amazing. Why isn't it growing? But then I realized that, look, the consistency, those people like are planning way ahead of time, like they're releasing back to back, and I'm like, okay, good, I can, you know. So it's just being honest with yourself. Like, look, sometimes you can be envious of the person, but when you study what they're doing, you realize, man, I can't even do half of that. So you relax. You relax, okay, kind of like, you know, you accept that Bambi, okay. Because, like, I remember watching, he's called Eugene Mbugua. He is now, I don't know if you are into creative, like, original content. He is such a brilliant Kenyan mind. He is the brains behind Showmax, I think Real Housewives of Nairobi. He's, I think, the guy who has produced and everything. And that guy said he wakes up at 3. He goes to bed at 8. Me, Priscilla, will I be able to do that? No. Like the when he mentioned what he does, I was like, Bambi, I cannot even be envious of him, because that process, me nganze, I'm not yet there. You get, and I relaxed myself. You know, he said he has made over 50 pitches to investors. You know, and some of those are rejected. Some of them they come, like they take 5 years to come through. Me here with my content, I make 2 pitches and then I'm demotivated, you know. So I realized, you know what, okay. And then the last thing that I always say is, you don't know all the information about these people that you're envious of. Sometimes you're envious of people who have trust funds. Sometimes you're envious of people who had a head start based on where the parentage, who their parents are, where they're born, the schools they went to. So many other factors contribute to success, you know. So I always sort of like give myself grace and kindness and say, you know what, you don't know everything about this person. You're only seeing a highlight of their success. You're only seeing, you know, a small bit. You don't know how long it took them. You don't know the sacrifices they've made. You do not know the people behind them. You don't know anything, you know. So before you even go running to self-pity and comparing yourself and feeling like you're less than, give yourself grace, you know. So that always helps me. So yeah, I hope that if you are in a space where you are dealing with envy or envious of another person, I hope that you just, you know, come, like, be gentle with yourself. But also the last thing is unfollow anyone who, if you've persistently tried to unpack and it has failed, please unfollow them for your peace of mind. There's you don't have to follow people that are continuously making you envious of triggering those envious feelings. So until you can be able to unpack them in a healthy manner, you can distance yourself, unfollow them. I mean, it's unhealthy, but especially if sometimes they can be in your space, like maybe your family members, or even it can be your husband. Sometimes you can be envious of your husband or your partner, like whichever. So yeah, but anyway, I hope that you give yourself grace if you're dealing with feelings of envy, and realize that you're not a bad person. It's a very, very normal human emotion. I think it's how you deal with it. And yeah, I guess you can also seek more help if it's like something that is persistent, that green-eyed monster is consuming you and you feel like you cannot leave. I think you can also seek like professional help from, you know, like therapists and who are trained to work through those feelings. But yeah, it's I mean, be kind to yourself. Yeah. It's never that serious. Be kind to yourself, and it's a matter of time before all these things that we envy, all those things that we want, come to pass. So yeah, okay, I hope you feel better if you are like me and have dealt with envy at one point or another. Anyway, please subscribe. If you didn't subscribe, leave a comment down below, and hope to see you again sometime soon. Bye.